if I'm very confident in that, and I personally ethically would not push out a service that I wasn't confident in, had an impact on people's lives. So if I know that, and I know that I can deliver, I will charge literally whatever price that I think that I could get away with, because I know the impact that it has on your life.
So you want to make an impact. You're thinking about starting a business, sharing your voice. How do women do it that handle motherhood, family, and still chase after those dreams? Well, listen each week as we dive into the stories of women who know. This is Call Me CEO. I've heard people say that there's low-hanging fruit when you can look at your business and see what is actually bringing in money. What are those breadcrumbs that you are missing out on major opportunities to bring in extra cash? Let's dive in with this episode and get started. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Call Me CEO. This is your host, Camille Walker. My voice may sound a little bit lower than normal because I have a little bit of a cold. So I apologize for that. But you are in for a treat today because we are actually going to take a deep dive into revenue building. For all of you business owners, we have the Boss Project co-owner, Emylee Williams, it's Emylee. You guys, it messed me up because her name is spelled Emylee. And I even said, okay, it's Emylee. And I have a sister-in-law with the name Emmy, middle name Lee. And I
think that's the weirdest connection.
It is so weird.
I knew your brain was going to trip you up.
I know. Dang it. This is real, people. But her co-owner is not with us today, Abagail Pumphrey. And they are also the hosts of the Strategy Hour podcast. And we are so excited to hear about this. Emylee, yes. Please tell us more about the Boss Project and how it got started.
Yeah, so Boss Project has been around since 2015. We were kind of official in 2016. We're actually known as Think Creative Collective back then. So if you've heard of that, that's also us.
Okay.
We rebranded in 2018, I think. I don't know. All the years are blurring together. But yeah, I had my own business. I started a business fresh out of college. I graduated, didn't know what I wanted to do. I had an art degree in photography and a minor in creative writing and multicultural studies. So I did not know what I was going to do. I picked up my camera, kind of started a little bit of a business, not charging people enough, not understanding marketing, not understanding selling, and just kind of like doing it. I had an incredible partner at the time who was my now husband, who is still incredible. And so he just kind of let me just like be a little creative, and I didn't have any pressure. We didn't have a ton of bills at that time. We definitely didn't have a kid at that time. And so life was much different. But I finally had a serious chat with him where he was like, I believe that you can actually turn this into something if you actually try. And if you take yourself seriously and if you learn a little bit more about the business. And so I was like, okay, fine. And so I started taking a couple of online courses and listening to podcasts and just like digesting and being a sponge about learning about everything about online business and strategy and selling and all of the cool things, and really took from other industries what I think could work in my local photography business. And overnight, completely redid my entire selling process, the entire experience, the pricing, everything. I 64x'd my pricing overnight, basically. Wow. I mean, I was charging hardly nothing. So I went ahead and booked a client. I put out some feelers, got a client who's like, I'm going to treat this client like the premium top-notch experience and just see, because I was starting to get burnt out. I was starting to not have a great client experience because I wasn't having fun. They weren't having fun. It was just feeling really off. And so I drastically increased my prices, but I also drastically increased the level of customer service and the experience and what people get and how I communicate with them and how I show up for them. And took this new client, which was a family photography client, through this entire process. And I walked out of their selling session with a $2,500 check when I was getting used to $75 Venmo transactions. And so I was like, oh, this was a completely different experience. They were crying. They loved it. I was so happy. I called my husband on the way home and I was like, I don't know what just happened, but this happened. And he was like, see, do more of that. So I started to become obsessed with selling and marketing and creating client experiences that converted, and really, really dove deep into obsessing about being a service-based business owner and having a service and impacting other people. Ultimately, that led me to create a course for photographers all about pricing, which led me to a Facebook group for small business owners, which led me to joining an Instagram pod. Do you remember when those things were a thing? When you're like 5 or 7 Instagrammers, and then they would like comment on your post right when you hit publish to like boost it in the algorithm. So I joined an Instagram pod, and Abagail was in that Instagram pod, and she was like, oh my gosh, like, I love how you talk to your audience. That's how I talk to my audience. I also am obsessed with selling and pricing and marketing and all of those things. So she actually grew up about 20, 30 minutes from me, but we had never met each other. We didn't know each other existed until I lived 4 hours away, and we met in a Facebook group.
Wow.
So 2 weeks after meeting in a Facebook group, I drove up to Missouri. I was living in Tulsa at the time. I stayed at her house. I had known her for 2 weeks on the internet, stayed at her house over the weekend. We just connected on so many levels about what type of businesses we wanted to run, what we didn't want to do, what we didn't want to sacrifice, how we felt like there wasn't really a space for us, and we wanted to create community and all of these things. And so then a couple of months, we were like, why don't we just like try to do this together and see what that feels like? So we hosted a webinar and co-sold my course together. She eventually added some curriculum to it. We started working with clients together, both in Kansas City and Tulsa, and ultimately decided to relaunch our brand as co-founders of a company, and started pushing out blog content and courses and webinars and workshops and challenges and working one-on-one with clients, and then launched our podcast in 2017, and now just serve clients with our incredible team of 7. We have 7 people on this team, like
awesome.
Full-time employees, like with benefits and paid time off and like all of these things. And so it went from a definite hobby that I thought maybe I'll never make money from to a full-fledged actual company, which is wild to me.
That is so cool. I love that you just you were so like-minded in your mission and what it is that you wanted to do. And what's really interesting to me too, is that you found each other in such an organic way, which I feel like that can still happen. So if you're listening to this right now and thinking, could I find someone like that where I could partner? Because I feel like we all have our own talents and strengths, and finding someone that complements you in your weakness is like magic. So that's so cool.
Yes. Yeah. It's been a game changer for both of us. We talk about all the time how we're like, are each other's yin and yang, and like we just complement each other so well, in the sense that our values are always in alignment. And I think that that's critical. Like we're always on the same page of how we want to show up and ultimately what we want to achieve together, but how we want it to look and feel like as we're going towards those goals. But what we're doing to get there, we're open to experimenting and trying new things. And maybe it's a service, maybe it's a course, maybe it's, writing a book. I don't know. Like, we're just like, let's just see what this looks like. But as long as we know that we're building it in the alignment that's best for both of us, then we're going to be great.
I love it. Now, there's something, when I got the pitch from your company to be on the show, one of the things that caught my attention was something that said, first, the number one mistake we make when trying to scale. So I want to really dig into that. And second, how we can make $60,000 more per week, I think is what it said.
In 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks without new leads. So let's tackle those 2 questions. Because I'm like, that sounds good.
I want both of those things.
Right? So what's that number one mistake? Let's talk about that.
Well, so to us, and we've gotten the privilege of working with over 10,000 small business owners over the course of the years, whether it's through our paid programs or like our courses and our workshops or our coaching programs or our one-on-one executive coaching program. So we have gotten behind the scenes of a lot of business owners. And so because of that, we have a lot of data that we can look at, and we can pull on a lot of themes of where people get stuck, and the commonalities within businesses, no matter what stage you're in or what industry you're in, or what your goals are in. And so ultimately, everyone's after scaling, right? Like a lot of us want to go through seasons of growth or scaling. And oftentimes we get growth and scaling confused. But what the conversation we need to actually be having before we're diving into that, and this is kind of what I alluded to on the sense of like Abby and I's values are very similar. There's the basic foundation of, you obviously have to know what your goal is what does scaling mean to you, right? What does that actually mean? Does it mean having a team to support you? Are those contractors or are those employees? Does it mean having a virtual team? Does it mean you want to have a brick and mortar because you're going to have like clients come into your office and your building and like exist with you? Does it mean you want to be like a really well-known thought leader, an influencer in your space? Does it mean that you want to be traveling a lot? Or does it mean you just want it to be you and like one part-time admin or a VA and you just want to kind of like keep things lean and have really high profits? Does it mean that you want to take some of that money and open up other locations or a foundation or start another business and you're like really a true entrepreneur in the sense of like you're using capital to start something else? All of those versions are beautiful and great and amazing. I think we don't necessarily know what we're after until we kind of start going after something and it feels right or it doesn't feel right. But what I see when people are diving into scaling is that the mechanisms that they're choosing for growth are to reach goals that they don't actually care about, that they don't actually want. They're goals that they feel like they should have because everyone else in the marketing space is saying you need to reach 6 figures, or you need to reach $1 million business, or you need to have a team, or you need to host retreats for your clients, or you need insert whatever thing that you're being told. And I really want you to sit with, how do you want your business to feel as you're running it, as you're showing up day to day? Because you deciding that it's going to be you and a contractor or a VA or one part-time employee is a heck of a lot different than 7 employees or 25 employees or 500 employees. And how you have to show up as the founder, as the CEO, as the leader is drastically different depending on which route you choose. None of them are wrong, but oftentimes I see this major disconnect in, well, this is what I want to do every day, but these are my goals. Well, you're going to have to do different things if this is your goal. And if we're wanting this version of life, then here are the opportunities that are available to us. And all of those are great. But saying you want to be a thought leader that's speaking on a bunch of stages, but you don't want to travel is kind of counterintuitive to that goal. And so I really want you to be mindful about, what are your goals? What are the things that you're wanting to do to get there? And how do you want your business to feel as you're achieving those goals? And are they actually in alignment?
Yeah, that's such a good point. I think so often we look at social media or have an idea of what those different scenarios could look like or feel like, but to actually step back and say, but what do I want?
Right. Well, and here's the biggest thing that we see, because we work with service-based business owners, meaning you work one-on-one with someone. So at various price points, we have service-based business owners who charge $500 a month for something on retainer, some that charge $90,000 for one project, and everything in between. But what we see is this is the classic case of getting muddled with different industry advice and then thinking that you have to take on that advice for your own business. You're a one-on-one service-based business owner. You're probably an introvert. You're hanging out at home. Your capacity is probably 3 to 5 clients a month, if that. Like even 5 might feel high. You're thinking about maybe getting some help, but it's going to be a contractor, maybe for some copywriting over here or some design work over here for your clients or even for your own business. And right now you're in that like lean kind of scaling vibe, right? So we think and we know that those are the things that we want. We want to be making more money. We want to have a small team and we want to have high profits. We want to be keeping the money that we're making, right? And we don't have to work with a ton of people in order to make that happen. We really find that our best results are working with a handful of people and seeing really deep impacts. So this is what's being told to me from our clients. Mm-hmm. But their strategies are, okay, so because I want that, I'm going to launch a $17 membership and I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to grow an email list and I'm going to start Facebook ads and I'm going to start a TikTok and Instagram social media plan and I'm going to start blogging. And we're doing all of these things that are amazing strategies if you're wanting to build a really big brand. And if you're needing quantity over quality, if you're needing a ton of leads to sell a ton of products because you're priced so low that you need those sales in order to reach this goal. And so that's what I'm talking about when the methods of what we're doing are out of alignment with what we say that we actually want. In this reality, we need to find the price that's actually appropriate for the handful of clients that we want. Then how many leads do we need in order to convert that many clients? So then what are our marketing efforts need to be? Maybe it's just showing up to one networking event a month. Maybe it's making sure our SEO is really great. So when people are typing in keywords for what I offer, I actually show up for them because I only need 7 new leads a month to convert 5 of them, 4 of them, right? And so really being mindful of what's actually working in your business to get you the clients that you want versus what are you doing?
That is right there, some gold, because I can relate to that where especially if there is any type of business that I talk to and coming from the world of blogging and influencing and it's about the mass and everyone needs to be on TikTok and hurry and get out there. And it's so distracting because you're like, I have to do all the things. So that's such a relief to hear you say, no, focus on keywords, show up at networking events.
Yep. And those are just a couple examples. I don't know if those are the things like perfect for you, but but it's, I'm on TikTok for my own brand because I am in the quantity game. I'm writing a book. I want to be a published author and I need a bunch of readers in order for that to be a sustainable income for me. But for BP, we're on Instagram because we've been on Instagram since like 2014, 2015. So like our account is there. We don't get clients from there. It's just like our portfolio. Hey, we're still alive. We exist. This is our business. But our clients come from networking, from our email list, from having conversations with peers and getting introduced to other people and referrals, speaking on other people's podcasts, like making it aware that we exist and this is what we do. It's not the mass efforts.
Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate that. I think that that's spot on. So I'm curious about your own purposes on TikTok. Let's talk about that for a minute. For someone who is looking to grow that way, what is your best advice for strategy there? Have you had success there?
No, I literally just started my account 3 days ago. And
okay.
So I am in the throw the spaghetti at the wall.
Yes.
What works. So I'm writing a book. It's spicy contemporary romance. And so it's going to be on Kindle. It's going to be, available on Amazon, all of the places. Well, I've done a lot of research on how do authors actually get paid from those platforms. And it's very, very little quantities, but it adds up, right? If you have hundreds of readers and hundreds of pages, it stacks up. Again, the quantity game. And so I need people who are outside of my inner circle to also be aware of me. So I know within my personal Instagram account that has about a little less than 8,000 followers, my people show up for me. They love what I do, period. I've been sharing my art and creative journey for over a decade on that platform. And it's ranged from selling paintings to selling handmade earrings to talking about motherhood and adoption to boss project stuff, to now my book and my writing. And they're tremendous and they're my like rally people and I love them. There's also like not hundreds of thousands of them. And so I need more of them. So I did decide to start TikTok and try to like figure out the whole book talk section of that platform. And I've got about 70 followers and some comments. So that's happened in 3 days. And I feel pretty good about that. But yeah, I'm just seeing what's working for other people and trying to kind of replicate that on my own with my own style.
That's awesome. Well, I can tell that you are a learner, that you dig in and you make it happen for you. And stay tuned because I actually have a best-selling author who's also a lawyer that I'm interviewing next week, who has a team of writers that works with her, and they release, I think 3 to 5 books every couple of months, and she's incredible. So
that's the quantity game. So like the amount of authors that I mean, I could talk about book writing all day because I definitely dug into this. But the amount of authors who are like, especially in my genre where the books are a lot shorter and they're easier to digest. Like
it's exactly what you're looking for. I promise you're going to love her. So we'll talk more about that. And if you're listening to that and curious, that's coming in a week or two after this episode. So let's talk about the 60,000 additional in 6 weeks. How do we get that? Because that sounds great.
Yes. So I feel like I'm just going to be like kind of a broken record here and repeating back to the same thing. One of our favorite things to do with clients is, so I call it chasing the breadcrumbs. And we do an audit and we force our clients, if they come to us and say, this is my problem and here's what I think I need to do to solve it, right? Mm-hmm. We are those annoying consultants that are like, but is it? But is it really? Do you have proof to like back up that this is the thing that you need to do in order to reach the goal that you say that you have? Mm-hmm. And we dig a little bit deeper and we have them chase the breadcrumbs and find the facts. And so client Bonnie came to us. She's in the marketing space. in Denver. She works a lot with restaurants and restaurant groups. They're her clients. So she does their social media management, email campaigns, menus, signs on the table for different events, all sorts of stuff like that. It's her and a full-time employee. It was at the time. This was about 18 months ago. We've continued to work with her, and she's grown incredibly, and it's very exciting. So ultimately what she joined one of our programs, the incubator, and she came to us and said, I joined because I'm at capacity. My time is out. My employees' time is out. We have as many clients as we can work with. So in order to work with more clients, I need to hire more people. So I want you to help me learn how to hire. Who should I hire? How much do I pay them? How do I train them so that they can start serving clients so that I can work with more clients so that I can make more money? And I said, what if that wasn't what you needed to do? Because I'm all about simplicity and making more money without costing more money, right? So I said, let's just do a deep dive into what are you offering right now? What's the price point? Are you priced right? Let's just start there. Like, are you even priced right? Before we add on any more clients, are you actually priced right with what you're delivering? So Abby is our numbers gal, and she built this incredible calculator that our clients get access to, that you basically plug in, how much do you want to make? Then how much revenue do you need? At what profit margins? What is your capacity? So then therefore, how many clients can you as the founder sustain versus if you have an employee, what's their client capacity? So how does that increase your client capacity? It's this whole big Google spreadsheet that's gorgeous and amazing and like auto populates your answers. So she did all of that. And obviously this is not a surprise, realized she was drastically undercharging. She was over delivering and undercharging, which a lot of us do, especially when you have clients who've been around for years. As you started your business, they're typically paying the rates that you put out your first 6 months of business, your first year of business, and you've been adding more things into their scope because you've let them do that, but you haven't changed the price. So ultimately we said, you need to have some conversations with your legacy clients. You're losing money on these clients. So we need to have a conversation. So let's start there first. So we helped her craft some scripts and helped her identify of her client load, who were the ones that were primed to say yes to spending more money with her, who were her easiest ones to communicate with, her favorite ones to work with. And ultimately she decided to reach out to 6 clients. So we helped her figure out, what does the conversation need to be an email for this person? What does that need to say? Do you need to have a phone call with this person? What do you need to say? Do you need to take this person to lunch? And what do you need to say? And they're all the basis of the same conversation. Hey, we're raising our rates. Here's why. Here's what your new project's going to look like moving forward. Here's why. But all in the positive, like doing this is going to help me better serve you in these ways, XYZ, all of these conversations. She reached out to 6 people, had 6 different custom tailored conversations for them. All 6 of them said yes and converted to her new rates. And that, from those 6 clients that she already had, generated the additional $60,000 within a 6-week time frame. So ultimately, at the end of that, she looked up and said, I don't need to hire. Actually, I can let one of these turd clients go because I don't like working with them. And I just found $60K over here. And what if I do this again for these 3 clients over here, these clients over here? And the next clients that are going to be coming in are going to be at an even higher rate because I feel confident now about what I'm offering. And ultimately now, 18 months later, she has her full-time employee, and she has 2 part-time contractors, and she's brought on 6 additional clients because of those contractors, because now she understands, when I pull this lever, here's what it's actually going to do. And it is an input-output scenario when earlier it would have kept her burnt out because she wasn't still getting paid appropriately.
Right. Ooh, that is so powerful. That's the thing I'm really curious about too, is that I think a lot of it is confidence, obviously,
100%.
and then sorting out the right amount to charge, because I think especially for women, we have a hard time charging. And so how do you help people through that process?
I don't think I'm great at it. I'll be honest with you, because I've been in the game for so long, and while I was the person charging very cheap for photography, it wasn't because I didn't think I was worth it. It wasn't because I didn't think my stuff was good. I just literally didn't know how to structure or create the experience that would kind of justify that price point. Are there photographers who could charge $3,000 for, I'm going to show up to this thing, shoot your photos, and give them to you on a digital drive? Absolutely. And I'm sure that they're amazing at that. I felt like I wanted to create more of an experience there. So to me, as long as I'm coming at it from a space of, no, I know what I'm offering impacts people. It changes lives. It makes them happy. It makes them more money. It solves a problem in their life, right? If I'm very confident in that, and I personally ethically would not push out a service that I wasn't confident in, had an impact on people's lives. So if I know that, and I know that I can deliver, I will charge literally whatever price that I think that I could get away with, because I know the impact that it has on your life. And so when we work with clients about this, if they don't believe in the thing that they're offering and believe that it's impactful in whatever unique way that they show up, then they are going to have a hard time raising those rates and having those conversations. But we work with clients who could charge a gajillion dollars for their service because it's that good. And in reality, we just need to put you through the calculator to figure out, well, what's actually appropriate for the time that you're spending versus the scope versus the deliverables versus your actual industry and your clients' budgets. Because some people are working with small businesses who have drastically different budgets than some of our folks who are getting hired by Google to come and train an entire department. That's a completely different budget conversation. Right. I'm going to help you price differently if Google is your client versus if this small business over here is your client.
Yeah. That makes a
so
lot
it comes
of
down
sense.
to it comes down to math. As annoying as that is, it comes down to facts and math. And you can be bent out about the price if you want, but you're just holding yourself back from making more money. And so once you get past that, come talk to me, because I'm not best at the mindset space of why you need to be charging this, because I'm just going to tell you, well, it's the only thing that's going to help you reach your goals. So when you're ready to do that, then we can chat.
You referenced quite a bit about email lists and that's a way that you've been able to keep consistent income for your own business.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that. What are your best tips for email and keeping that active, or maybe re-engaging an email list that you've let slow down?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I definitely don't recommend email list strategy for everyone. We happened to start ours, back in 2015 when we were doing webinars and workshops and challenges. So online events. So people would give their email to sign up for the thing. Or, remember in 2016, 2017, when freebies were still really popular, and one-page PDFs, or sign up for this 5-day email challenge or whatever. Those aren't as effective these days. You have to be really, really niche and really specific. The thing that's happening right now, and this is just a side tangent, is buyer behavior is drastically changing. And the research from Google and from a lot of places is telling us that our website traffic specifically is coming to us where people are a lot further along in their buyer journey than they have been in the past, because they're able to consume so much content, not even from just you, about the thing that you're talking about, right? They're listening to a podcast, and then they're getting an ad for another workshop, and then they see something on stories, and then they might see some TikTok videos about it. Then they might read someone's blog post about it. And it could be from a different source every single time. But it doesn't matter, because that's their research, right? So they're doing a lot of research on their own, even if they don't realize they're doing the research, until one day they're ready to actually try to solve this problem. This problem is enough of an issue for me that I now want to take action to solve this problem. So historically, in even 5 years ago, people could come to a site and say, I'm still researching. And so it makes sense for me to drop in my email, and I'm going to get your 1-page guide. I'm going to get your 5 steps to this. I'm going to get your resource toolkit, whatever you might have had. And I'm going to continue to learn, and then you can nurture me. And then I might be ready to take the next step. That's not where people are at right now. And so what I want is, if we're going to be spending time on strategies, I want them to be the most effective for you, but also what your customers want, what your potential clients want. So if I were to do an opt-in or freebie today, it would not be to drastically nurture. It would not be to spend, have this 30-day long drawn out campaign to introduce myself, and then my values, and then my business, and then, here's now what I offer, and here's who it's perfect for. I'm going to get straight to the point a lot faster. People's attention spans are less and less these days. People are cutting through the BS a lot faster, I feel like. So unless your thing is super effective and super valuable, I honestly would just cut it. Drop your email to schedule a call with me. Fill out this form so I can learn which one of my services is best for you. And then I'm going to put you choose your own adventure kind of thing. I'm going to put you down the right pipeline. it's a quicker journey from that know, like, and trust, because they've been doing a lot of that on their own, to now here's who I am and here's how I can help.
Okay. So for people who are listening to that and they say someone comes to your website, would you have that be a pop-up, like for an email grab of like, let me know how I can help you? And then
I would have it, if you're offering a service, a one-on-one service, I would have a pop-up, a button, and multiple links throughout your homepage and entire site for someone to either book a call with you, so straight to your calendar, or fill out a form that gives you a little bit of information about who this person is, maybe what their budget is, what they're looking for. Then you can read their form, and then you can send an email to them saying, because you said this, here's what I think might be perfect for you. If their budget is like nil, maybe you send them some curated blog post links or some podcast episodes that you've done. And you're like, here's the resources I think you should dive into. If you have any other questions, like, would love to chat with you or hang out over on Instagram or TikTok and like learn more from me. But if they're in the right budget, or they're in the right industry or stage, or whatever your filters are for your ideal client, get on the phone with them. People are wanting to build relationships. They're craving connection. They want to see that you're a human on the other side of all of this marketing presentation.
Yeah.
And if you get there faster, even if that person doesn't book, even if they don't move forward, you learn so much about your ideal client that you can then take that to tweak your copy, tweak your brand messaging, tweak your next social media post, or whatever it might be. And it's going to convert higher next time.
I can attest to that, because in the past with my 60 days to VA course, I was doing more like webinar and like, come learn from me in this class and this and that.
Yeah.
And now that I'm doing one-on-one calls, it just converts so much better.
So we do a mix of both. We do one-on calls all week long. Abby's on the phone all of the time. You could literally go to our wait list right now and just chat with Abby like that. You can get on her calendar right now for whatever you want. But we also do a mix of webinars, because I freaking love teaching. Like, I love teaching. And I love like aha moments and like, I just learned this thing and I want to teach you this thing. And so that's still just like the thing that brings me joy. So we do monthly lunch and learns, and our last two have all been about website audits and how you can perform a website audit yourself so you can book more discovery calls. We design websites. That's our biggest bread and butter here with our clients. But our clients, like, our packages, our budgets start out at $16,000. That's not perfect for everybody. We get that. So we know that if you're going to be taking the time to sign up for a webinar, like, maybe you also don't have a $16,000 budget. So what can I do within this training to show you that I actually care about you having a takeaway, that I actually am committed to making your website better? It's not going to be perfect. Even if you take every single strategy that I share with you today, it's not going to be perfect. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I do suggest that you hire a design and developer for your website for specific purposes. If you have no training in design, copywriting, or SEO, you need to hire someone for that. Those are not skill sets you can just like try to do and hope that it converts really well. But ultimately, I still want you to walk away with something. So we hosted 2 workshops in the past 2 months for website audits. And we have a tool, it's our opt-in, where you can get a free website audit of your own website. You literally just type in your name, your email, and your URL of your website. And within 60 seconds, a multi-page PDF report generates, and it gives you your SEO grade. So A through F. Here's why you have that grade. Maybe you have missing links. Maybe you don't have enough keywords. Maybe your images are too big and it's slowing down your website. Maybe your website's not mobile responsive, and 50% of all website traffic as of 2022 comes from mobiles or tablets. Maybe you don't have enough H1 tags, and so Google doesn't know what it is that you do. Maybe you don't have enough body copy on your website. All of these different things it assesses, and it tells you each and every one of those that you passed with a green check mark or a red X that you failed. And it gives you high priority to medium priority to low priority of attention, so you can sort those things. If you have capabilities to fix those things, be my guest. Take it. Go into your website and start making those changes. If you don't, you're prompted at the end of that PDF to hop on the phone with us, and we can figure out what does that look like for us to work together. And that is enough for us right now, where people are getting their exact report for their website with their grade, with tangible steps they can do to make it better. But if they don't want to do that, they also know what to do to get help.
That is such a cool tool. Is that something that was made specifically for your business, or?
Yeah. Yeah, well, so it's a website that we pay for, that we've
Yeah.
customized our reports to be able to generate and get and showcase our prospects what they want to see in their report. But you would have to pay hundreds of dollars to get that report yourself if you went through that website. But it's whitelisted through ours, and you can grab your report. It's at the very bottom of our homepage of our website if you want it.
Which is
bossproject.com.
Bossproject.com. We'll link to that below. This has been so helpful. I think everyone listening has learned a lot. I know I have. Please tell our audience where they can connect with you. I know you've referenced some of it, but we'll cover some more.
Well, definitely head to bossproject.com. That's where you're going to be able to get the website audit. You're also going to be able to see lots of button and links for you to schedule a call. And that goes straight to Abby's Calendly. So like you can book a time with her to talk about a website project, to talk about SEO projects, to talk about, we have a sales strategy playbook where we do your pricing audit for your offer and help you create a sales strategy for that specific thing. There's a plethora of things you can learn about on there. We have a ton of blog posts on our archives, as well as our podcast, The Strategy Hour, where you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. I think we have like over 700 episodes. Start at the newer ones and then work your way back. Don't start at the beginning. We were new business baby podcasters, and we definitely got better over time. But they're really incredible episodes. We release a new one every Tuesday and Thursday, so definitely go check that out. And we're on Instagram at Boss Project. That's where you can really see our portfolio of work. So what does our design work? What does our branding work look like when we work with clients? And we'll let you know when new episodes and blog posts go live on our Instagram feed as well. But if you DM us, it's literally me and Abby who respond. And so if you want to chit chat with us, introduce yourself, say, hey, let us know that you came from this podcast so I can know and let you know that we had your amazing listeners come over. And I'd love to get to know you guys better over there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Please subscribe and leave a review. Anytime that you do, that helps this podcast to grow. And I'm so grateful for you showing up today. I hope you found some helpful tips to grow your business. And if you are a busy entrepreneur and looking for help from a VA, you can reach out to me at camillewalker.co, as well as if you're looking to build your own 60-day to VA business with me, you can reach out to me in that same place. So I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next week. Hey CEOs, thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you found this episode inspiring or helpful, please let me know in a comment and a 5-star review. You could have the chance of being a featured review on an upcoming episode. Continue the conversation on Instagram at Call Me CEO Podcast. And remember, you are the boss.